Hi, this is Jonathan Messenger from the podcast The Alien Adventures of Caspian. And on our show, which is a show for kids, we have listeners from all around the world send in sounds to Griffin's Sound Club. This is something that was started by my son Griffin, who's the editor of the show, where he asked listeners, kids, to send in sounds that they made, and we'd use them as sound effects in our science fiction show. And I thought it might be kind of fun to show how we make some of those sounds. So a lot of times, kids send in sounds and they fit right in. They're kind of a bang or some kind of explosion sound or something like that, and we can just fit it right in and no need to change it. But sometimes we like to have a little fun with the sounds, and so a kid will record his voice or her voice on their parents' iPhone and send it to us, and then we get the opportunity to play around with it and make it sound more alien, more robotic, more monstrous, whatever fits. And it's a lot of fun. I'm really grateful for all the listeners who sent in their sounds. So I thought I'd show how I kind of play around with some of this stuff. So the first one up is from our listener Theo, and let's give a listen to what he sent us. All right, so that's obviously really awesome. It's a really, really great sound. And thank you so much to Theo for sending us that. To me, it sounds like a monster growling, some kind of maybe a big animal growling. And so the first thing that I do is actually I'm going to take out a couple of these they're just little blips that happen anytime you record. Happens to me, happens to everybody. And then the first thing I'm going to do is use something called a pitch shifter. And what this does is it lets us make a sound go up high or down low. And so I'm just going to turn that on. I've made it sound a little lower, so let's hear it with the pitch shifter on. All right, so you can see it sounds a little lower. I'm going to actually bring it down even a little bit more so it sounds a little deeper. There we go. And then I use something called reverb. And reverb is something, it's a little like echo. It is a sound bouncing off the walls. And so in our story, this monster or this animal is running through a series of hills and kind of canyons and valleys. So we want that sound to be reverberating around. And so this plugin here just lets me put a little reverb on it. I can choose, put it in a big space here, and I can kind of move the sound around however I like. If I want it to be on the left or on the right or in back. And so I'm just going to put it over here, and then we'll give that a listen. So you can kind of hear the sound bouncing around a little bit. And then finally, because the monster is maybe one of many monsters and we want to create this kind of feeling of the unknown. We don't know where the sound is coming from. It's closing in on our heroes. I like to use something called delay. And I like to use this one delay. And basically what it does is it kind of repeats the sound, but then it kind of corrodes the sound a little bit or breaks it down a little bit. So it sounds a little creepier. So let's hear what that sounds like. So you can hear that kind of echoing sound that if you layer a few of these sounds on it, you don't know where that sound is coming from, and hopefully it just sounds a little more alien, a little more confusing to our heroes. And then I just thought we'd listen to this. This is from Evan, who sent us in this very kind of cool sound. Let's hear what he did for us. Okay. That's a great sound. I like it a lot. It could be anything. It could be a spaceship flying around. It could be some kind of alien bug flying around. It could be the sound of a robot waking up. It could be anything. For this sound, for the episode that we put this in, they were on a planet with lots of giant space animals. And so I thought it kind of sounded to me like a bee buzzing, like maybe a giant alien bee. And so the first thing that I put on here was my old trusty pitch shifter, but rather than bringing it down low like I did with Theo's sound, I brought it up a little bit. So let's hear what that sounds like. So that's what it sounds like when it's on. Yeah, let me see if I can do it. So it just sounds a little more like I don't know, like a bee, a little more alien-like. And then I use one of my favorite things to use, which is not really what it's supposed to be used for. It's called a tremolator. It puts tremolo. Usually it's used for guitar, that sort of thing. But I like to use it. So I'm just going to turn it on here and I'll show you. So this is the tremolo, and basically it kind of makes this wave effect in the sound. So here's what it sounds like with the tremolo applied. So I just kind of liked how that sounded as the idea of like a beehive, like giant bees coming out. And we'll just maybe move the rate of it up a little bit, the tempo. So here it has that kind of like bee buzzsaw effect to it. And there's actually this plugin, you can do all sorts of things with it. I'm going to use this sound in an upcoming episode in another way. And they have all these presets here that you can use. And one of my favorites is actually this. It's meant to actually make something kind of sound like a ringtone, but it makes this sound really cool. So let's just hear this. This is a preview of a sound coming from an upcoming episode of The Alien Adventures of Finn Caspian. I mean, it doesn't get more sci-fi than that, right? I mean, that's, I'm going to listen to that again. I love it. It just makes that sound so much like a spaceship flying, or maybe some sort of evil robot appearing, and I love it. And just we can make Evan's sound that he sent us, just him saying "ee" into his parents' cell phone, and we can make all sorts of different sounds from it. So that's really fun for me. And thanks so much to all the listeners who sent in their sounds. And check out the Alien Adventures of Finn Caspian to hear more great. Well, I don't know if I'll say great. To hear more science fiction stories and hear the sounds that our listeners have sent in. Thanks.